Linux In-Laws, a podcast on free Libra open source software. Broadcasting from the United Kingdom and Germany.
Welcome to Linux In-Laws, Season 2, Episode... Martin, I'm blanking. What is it?
2. Isn't that your age?
2?
No.
62? No. It's actually 62, but that's not my age.
Oh, okay.
Because
it's close.
As we all know, 765 years. And I died about, what, 700?
Well, it all depends when
700 years ago.
Right?
Exactly. So I'm just not innocent artificial intelligence.
An innocent one, interesting.
Yes. Which is a nice segue actually into tonight's subject, which actually the history of AI as an artificial intelligence. So, Martin, what happened about 13 billion years ago, give or take a few?
Well, I think it started with bacteria, right?
No, Martin, hear me out. What happened 13 billion years ago?
Probably quite a few things, but is there anything specific
do
you
guess.
think about?
Yes, Martin.
A Big Bang, perhaps?
Very much so, Martin. It all began.
Well, that's relative, right? It's only.
Welcome.
If you're in your tiny bubble, then yes, you can say it all around. But then there's a billion years beyond that, which nobody knows about. So.
The current line of thinking is basically that about 13, 14, 15 billion years ago, the universe was created in an event called the Big Bang, not related to the TV show, or is it?
Well, it depends, right? I mean, some people believe there was some beardy guy in the sky who made it all, but hey.
But you see, this is basically what the physicists are currently thinking about. What happened before the Big Bang?
Exactly. They don't know that, do they?
We should probably run an episode and get some experts.
Yes. Yeah.
In that episode, who can answer all these questions, basically. So, I mean, where we come from, what the current set of things is, and much more importantly, where the whole thing is headed at. I mean, what?
Well, that's pretty obvious.
The sun will implode in about 6 billion years or something like that.
Is it only 6? Oh, I don't know the exact number.
Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, don't quote with the numbers, but it will implode at some stage.
But that's fine because
the good news
Earth is left by then anyway. So before then,
the good news is we'll be gone by then.
Yeah, well, we'll be gone, and so will everybody else. So yeah.
Pretty much so, yes. So, Martin, what happened about 4 billion years ago?
Let's see. Take 4. Well, I guess there's something to do with Darwin, isn't it?
No, prior to that, actually. Darwin came later.
Well,
Darwin was 1800s or something.
My history is not my strongest.
No, Martin, billion, not million. There's a difference.
Oh, okay. Let's see. What would have happened 4 billion years ago? Earth cooling down kind of stuff?
Yes. We're getting there.
Some kind of water coming from asteroids and things.
True, water was there already. So no.
Well, was it though?
Yeah, it was, because otherwise, a few molecules wouldn't have decided to join.
Yeah, but that's also debatable, right? Because where does the oxygen come from in the first place? It's like the chicken and the egg. Anyway. So
that came
the
later.
Big Bang and before the Big Bang, right? So it's all chicken, eggs, Big Bang, all the same.
Listeners,
you heard it here first.
Yes, exactly. If you have any suggestions, especially about what happened before the Big Bang, the email address is feedback@linux.in-laws.
Yes.
So do send mails, especially if you have proof, because we might have a special offsite in that case in Norway. Where the Nobel Prizes are held, no? As in the...
they're still doing it only in Norway? Okay.
I thought they were, yes, as in the ceremonies and all the rest of it. Because if the in-laws can tell the world what happens with a certain degree of, what's the word I'm looking for, certainty.
Well, we can tell them anything, really, but... The problem is
Before the
proving
Big
this
Bang,
stuff,
I
right?
mean, we are on track for that long-awaited Nobel Prize, no?
Yes. I think we may need to skill up our mass before we can do that.
But I mean, that can be arranged. Okay, fast forward yet
Fast
again
forward.
a couple of billion years.
Okay.
Yes, we are looking at the 1800s, give or take a few. What happened then, Martin?
1800s. Well, various wars, of
Or
course.
1900s, exactly. I mean, people thought
1900s.
about mechanizing, for want of a better expression, computation, no? As in Babbage and all the rest of them.
Yeah, well, not just computation. They were just generally interested in machines that work by themselves, right? So rather than employing a bunch of 5-year-old kids to do all their dirty work. Yeah.
I mean, along the same timeline, some people really thought about what intelligence really is and how we can formulate
Interesting,
that.
Yes. Okay, so how do we formulate this then? Go on.
So, Martin, what is intelligence in the first place?
Well, depends on your definition, right?
let me put a blunt one on the table. It's something that the in-laws lack to some extent. Not going all the way, just some of it.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe.
Any thoughts?
Well, let's see. I guess people went back to what's the difference between a certain species as well, right? And I think that's why they came up with how they came up with the definition of intelligence. Difference obviously being, developing tools and stuff like that. To
biologists call us Homo sapiens, and that's Latin,
of
course.
Yeah, that's
and that means wise,
and stuff, right?
No, it just means wise, as in.
No, sapiens means knowing, right? Or having self-awareness types, consciousness thingy, whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, apes do that also, and apes are also capable of using.
Well, they share 99% of DNA with humans.
So the biologists got it wrong. Fair enough. It happens often, apparently.
Yeah, I think. Well, there's a combination of stuff, right? Being able to learn stuff is I pick up a rock. What can I do with it? That kind of stuff. Stuff like maybe I guess something like reasoning. If I throw this rock at my wife, then she dies. That kind of thing, right? So let's not do that again.
Exactly. Don't do it.
It's those kind of things, right?
Let's take a step back and look at the food chain for a minute.
Okay.
I mean, we have humans at the very top, apparently, and then we have monkeys, and then we have politicians.
I'm not in the habit of eating monkeys myself, but you can speak for yourself.
No, jokes aside, I mean, the definition has been blurring for the last, 50, 60 years, because as current research suggests, we are not exactly at the tip of the food chain. Apparently, dolphins are equally intelligent,
true.
but haven't mastered the building of hardware yet.
Yeah.
And if they have, maybe they haven't published this yet.
Indeed.
But maybe publishing is not at the top of the priority list of dolphins when it comes down to research. No, joke aside, the idea behind this whole artificial intelligence thing is basically how can we put intelligence into hardware? In terms of, it's all started in the 1900s with some people thinking about what intelligence really is, and how this can be put into theorems, how this can be abstracted so that we can put it into some sort of mechanical gadget.
A machine.
Yes, a machine. Like the chess-playing Turk.
The question
of old age, exactly.
Question begs why, but hey.
Well, because we can.
Yes, but that's not a good reason, is it?
Hang on. I mean, I thought the whole computer science thing was resting on this adage. Maybe I'm wrong. As in, if you tell programmers that can be done, the first thing he'll tell you, or she, of course.
It can't be.
Because
it can't be.
No, it can.
It will cost you so many days.
Yeah, but that's not the point, Martin.
And I have to research it first. Yeah.
Yeah, and I learned that 1001 comes into play and documentation, all the rest of it. Yes, but let's not diverge in the first place. So, okay. what happened especially what happened in the 1900s?
Well, it's quite a long period, right? Many things happened.
Late 1900s.
Late 1900s.
As in Babbage and some other people.
Babbage, yes. Well, yeah, I mean, there's Babbage, Turing, they all tried to build machines to...
Turing was the 20th century, if I might add.
No. You said 1900s, not the 20th century, which is...
Sorry. Yes, my mistake. Yes, Martin, of course you're right.
You meant the 1800s, did you? Anyway, the 1800s, we just covered that. This is when
so let's fast
the
forward
Industrial Revolution was. Yeah.
To the 20th century.
Aha, okay. 20th century. Okay, yes.
So Turing invented the Enigma and some other things, but Turing also thought up the idea of what Turing completeness is, but that's more about programming languages, but what a Turing machine is and what Turing completeness means, no?
Yeah, and I mean, he wrote a paper about it as well, right?
Details more in the show notes.
Which is...
maybe not.
It's about machinery and intelligence, and yeah, that's kind of what all his stuff was based on.
I mean, he pretty much laid the foundation of modern computer science in terms of what an automaton really is.
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember from my computer science studies,
back in the days,
that was probably. Yes. I remember his name from that for sure. Yeah. But yeah, there were others, right? And then, yeah. The whole thing was more of a research, theoretical subject back then, right? Because the hardware just wasn't up to doing any of these kind of things. Or in short, there wasn't enough computing power to do any of these things, but they could still theoretically come up with these ideas and how it would all work if it was able, if computers were powerful enough.
Turing did something very important in the 50s. He published a paper called, I think it was Computing Machinery Intelligence, where he actually described something called the Turing test.
Yeah.
Any guesses what a Turing test is?
Well, it's just the clue is in the name of the paper. It's it's really a test to see how intelligent a machine is, kind of, or something along those lines.
As I couldn't get to sleep last week, I actually read the paper. Yes,
you did. Well done.
Yes. Because I mean the in-laws podcast is all about proper preparation. Never mind insomnia and all the rest of it.
Hang on. I think you've mistaken the podcast for a different one.
Well, actually, so the Turing test is actually something where a machine is indistinguishable from a human in terms of you have a conversation with it, and you cannot tell the difference if you're talking to a machine or to a human.
Yeah, but that's.
If a machine...
A very simple definition of a human, right? Unfortunately.
No, I mean, intelligently, that is. So you're not talking about football or soccer or something like that, but you're talking about philosophy and all the rest of it. So if a machine passes that test, it's supposed to be intelligent.
It's not a good enough test, in my opinion. But hey, there we go.
Very, very true, Martin. Very true. But you're talking about in the 50s of the last century.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's only 75 years, right? So.
I mean, it depends on when we're recording this, no?
It does.
We may be looking at another time traveling episode, but let's not get into that level of detail. But rather, what happened?
Hang on a minute. Have we done an episode on time traveling? We should really do this.
Not yet, no. But we should probably. Okay. I don't know. Yeah.
I think the listeners would be interested in how to achieve this for sure.
You need lots of energy, but let's go into that in another episode.
Okay, yeah.
That will be an off-topic episode because maybe time travel doesn't have to do with free libre and open source software. But anyway, let's get back to what happened afterwards. Because if people think neural networks and deep learning, all the rest of it, is the latest rage, no, it's not. It's almost 100 years old.
I'm not sure it's that old, but but yes, I mean, I can't remember who it was, but someone came up with the idea of self-learning machines, right? I don't remember what it was. Rather than programming them, they would learn by themselves. So
for the two people in the audience who do not know what a neural network is, we should explain what that is.
Well, we did do a series on this, but yes, we could.
Yes,
we can briefly explain it.
Yes, Martin. So a neural network is if you decapitate somebody and if you then take a close look at his or her or its brain. Essentially, you have a neural network. But this is a biological one.
Yes.
You can also do this in software.
Indeed.
So at the end of the day, you're looking at a model, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's about it's the same as in a way how people learn by forming connections in the brain, right? So it's
with a lot of chemistry and
learning,
exactly. But we're going to get to that.
In biology, this is based on chemistry. In computers, it's based on electricity. This is about the principles.
Exactly. So how do people learn? As in, how do living beings learn? I'm almost tempted to expand, because the brain is pretty much I wouldn't say unique, but the word I'm looking for is universal. Exactly, across at least vertebrae, as in beings with a vertebrae.
Well, yes. How do people learn? First of all, they have to take in information and make connections, right? This is the kind of the way that things work. It's like show someone a picture of a cat, and someone says cat when they see the picture, when they're being shown the picture of a cat, and then after 10 cats, they know that the word cat goes with this shape that's observed by this vision sensory thingy.
And about 100 years ago, maybe more, maybe less, some psychologists came to the conclusion that you can accelerate that learning if you put a certain incentive on top of that.
So he invented modern YouTube. I see.
For example, imagine the very rare situation.
Wasn't that Schrödinger actually?
No, actually, it was a guy called
there was a guy who experimented with cats and food. What was
but that was a physicist. I'm talking about a psychologist. Okay. Picture this, Martin. You are completely off your head in terms of totally legless, coming back from the pub. About 2 a.m. in the morning.
Possibly imagine this. No.
No, you can't. Of course.
Anyway, the pubs don't.
Picture the theoretical situation.
Okay.
Where you come back from the pub totally legless at 2 a.m. in the morning.
It's quite difficult because they don't close at 2, but
okay, let's make it 12. Anyway, it doesn't matter, or 11. Anyway, so the wife is...
Yeah, you asked me to imagine something. It has to be realistic. Right?
Okay, because Martin is living in the UK, let's revisit the situation.
Okay, thank you.
And picture the fact that Martin is coming back from the pub totally legless at 11 p.m. and has started drinking around 12 p.m. that day. So we're looking at about 11 hours of solid drinking. The wife is still awake and isn't too impressed with the overall situation. First time around, Martin gets off with just a talking to. Second time around, Martin probably will be beaten. Third
That's a negative incentive, right?
Yes, Martin, it would be. Third time around, there would be any dessert or TV for the next fortnight. As in really crazy shit going on.
That sounds bad. Yeah.
And so this is called the incentive of not doing daytime drinking for solid 11 hours. This is called, Pavlov did this in a much more positive way about 100 years ago. Dogs were involved and food. Links will be shown notes.
Who was that guy?
Pavlov.
Yes, thank you.
Russian, exactly. Yes. But the fundamental mechanisms still apply. And you also see this in reinforcement learning mechanisms that we're going to go into in a minute or two.
Kind of
exactly.
Skipped a bunch of stuff.
Exactly. But as I said, we're going to go into that in a minute or two. But this is basically how it works in general with living beings. As in, you put an incentive, or you incentivize, for a much more formal impression, you incentivize a certain behavior. And what happens...
Well, no, I have to disagree with that one, I'm afraid. It's you're describing the non-intelligent learning, really, aren't you?
The difference being, Martin?
Well, the difference being that intelligent beings can reason without having to be told what's what, right? They can theorize, they can come up with hypotheses, they can... it doesn't... They're not just learning by, there is an incentive or a negative incentive associated with this. It's intelligent beings don't just work on that basis.
After 11 hours of solid daytime drinking, you must be joking.
Well, no. There's a wise man who said once that drinking is good for the brain because it kills all the dead brain cells, so it comes back. in case you heard it here first. Top tip.
Kids, do not try this at home. Do not drink for 11 hours straight and then go back to the wife. No, don't do this. At least not kind of multiple times. You want to stop at one or two. Because, reasoning will have vanished by then. Mm-hmm. And it will all be a blur, but only for I reckon for the first couple of years, because after that you will be solid. You will be dead solid because alcohol would have probably killed you. Anyway, doesn't matter. Going back to the much more safe environment of reinforced learning. Yes, reasoning comes into play, but picture this: you have just been. What's what I'm looking for? Not voided, but deprived of 2 weeks of dessert. At least then, if not before, the reasoning kicks in. Because you want to have dessert, but you won't get it because you have been daytime drinking for a couple of days and the wife doesn't like it. So no dessert, no TV, nothing. And we won't even go into the X-rated stuff. Although we could. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The picture I'm trying to paint here is that at least at that stage, you will start to reason about what you could change with regards to your behavior to avoid this negative incentive, this sanction, in other words.
Yes. So we're talking about reasoning? Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So push comes to shove, you're going to give up daytime drinking, although tempted. You go home sober, problem solved. No violence, dessert. Well, dessert will be there, and you can watch TV after all.
Yeah. So, okay. So
that's positive reinforcement learning for you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
That's precisely my point.
Yes. But, of course, there are other types of machine learning.
Of course, yes. But they came later. They came earlier. So why don't you give us the overview?
Well, I mean, there's the one I talked about with the cat example, right? You've got supervised learning where you have to basically tell the machine what things are. So you're feeding 1,000 pictures of a cat, and then it knows what a cat is.
That goes with something called a perceptron back in the 50s, no? Which was the early version of a neural network.
Yes. So that's supervised learning. There's then on the other side, there's of course unsupervised learning, where you don't go around labeling a million things to tell it what to do. It works out clustering of things itself. widely. I mean, all these things are. I suppose we come to the implementation-y bits at some point in the next 5 hours, but
Hopefully, yes.
There are a whole bunch of libraries then. And then, the last one we kind of already talked about is about neural networks, right? Which is, that's described as deep learning.
Yes. But before going into the details, we should probably shed some more light on the history aspect or historic aspect of AI. Because if you take a close look at what has been happening over the last almost 100 years, you can see a close tie, and that's not really a surprise, between money and research. Because back in the 50s...
Not related to AI, though.
No, I mean, but AI is probably a very prominent example of the ties of these two things, because in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, there was a pretty big hype about what we can do with computers, because computers had just been invented then.
Yeah.
And lots of government thought about the idea of, okay, if we just put enough money into the whole thing, it will yield results pretty quickly, pretty efficiently, pretty fast. They couldn't have been more wrong.
Right, depends how you define fast, right?
I mean, in the 50s, people were already thinking about AIs translating languages. Something that Google mastered about
in the
60
scheme
years
of
later.
things, it's like
Exactly.
50 years and 2 billion years. It's kind of
yes,
not much, right?
But you see, about 2 billion years, money didn't exist as such.
No, just used to trade bananas and rocks.
No, it's not even 2 billion years ago, because bananas weren't the hot thing then. Not to worry about this. The history aspects of this podcast, not to scale people. Don't write that out home. Anyway, okay, back to much more serious issues. No, the thing is, basically, if you take a look at the history of AI, and links, of course, with the show notes, you see an intimate tie between funding and research, because when the results weren't delivered after this initial launch of AI funding, the funding started to dry up, and these kind of dry periods coined the term of an AI winter. And that happened twice so far in the course of the history of AI research. The first one hit basically late 70s, early 80s, and the second one hit around late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
And what happened afterwards, Martin?
Oh, what happened afterwards is that Skynet came about, didn't he?
So. Sorry, what happened shortly before 2000?
It was the year 1999, and the clocks changed, and everybody
yes, panicked. Indeed, and even a year before that, two guys in a garage in Palo Alto.
Oh, them, right.
Exactly, also studying at Stanford at the time, decided to try to get a search engine right. The names of these two guys are, of course, Larry Page and Serge Brin. They found a company called Google. And
did they found Google or ABC?
No, they founded Google all those years ago.
But ABC is the parent company, right? So, anyway, who knows?
Alphabet came later.
Did it? Okay.
Google was founded before Alphabet came into play. Alphabet came much, much later, okay. But they soon discovered that search engines are great, but if you want to do the real thing, what we have to do is actually if you want to make some money, if you want to make some money, you can go down a couple of routes, and they decided to go for advertising. Because this is still their money spinner. Yeah. Or has been the money spinner for the last, 30 years or something almost. But how can you kind of go about this without artificial intelligence? So the idea is basically, if you take a look at the website and PageRank, and there's an algorithm behind the initial search engine implementation, was pretty straightforward, basically, because what you do is you take a look at a web page, you extract keywords, and then you present these web pages in a certain fashion on your result pages based on these keywords. Soon afterwards, a couple of people sussed out this PageRank algorithm and authored web pages accordingly. So it was essentially a rat race between the search engine and the people authoring websites. So, and at some stage, it must have been about 2001, 2003, maybe 2005, around the time probably when they acquired YouTube, that some of the people working at Google at the time said, okay, we can do that in a different way in terms of let's take a look at the research of the last 50 years in something called artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
In terms of what we can do in order, if you just don't want to extract keywords from a web page, but rather understand what is on a web page, what the tone is of the content that is being conveyed, what the images are and all the rest of it. And current lore, if that's anything to go by, indicates that around 2015, maybe 2016, they had it down to fine art. And of course, the research started way earlier than that. Google came up with a couple of cool things. For example, they acquired something called DeepMind, if that rings a bell, Martin.
It does.
So what is DeepMind?
Yeah, interesting. What happened to that?
They bought it.
Yes, but the name kind of disappeared, right? Is what I was thinking about.
I mean, if
it was really a good name.
Yeah, but Martin, you see, if a Borg hive captures a spaceship, they don't retain the name.
Well, that's their
if current
mistake, right?
If current history is anything to go by. No, jokes aside, what was DeepMind, Martin? In a nutshell.
But it's mostly known for its whatchamacallit, its game capabilities, right? Where it could
yes,
be humans
but
and stuff
what was
like
the technological foundation behind DeepMind? Much more importantly, yes, it could win games, but
there was also what's his name, Watson, right, from IBM, which
that goes back way earlier than that. Yes,
is it earlier?
Yes.
Yeah, because there's the whole thing about the being able to beat humans at games, right? That kind of raised its head, specifically in chess.
But you see, the hipsters would say this is just a use case. But the technology is way more important that is behind this thing. Because you're talking about
debatable, but yeah.
the foundation being fast forward about 50 years in terms of we have a perceptron, which is essentially a single, maybe two, maybe three layers of neural networks, and putting this into a multi-layered complex networks with convolutions and all the rest of it in terms of how to get things right for a change. And that's exactly what DeepMind, in terms of what I'm looking for, multi-layered neural networks basically is all about, in terms of how you structure a neural network and then how you layer these kind of individual neural networks on top of each other, and then basically how you put this through a training phase.
We have an episode on this, don't we?
Yes.
But yes, anyway.
Just to recap things.
Okay.
And then basically how you entice this neural network to learn. Basically how you train it, and then basically how you put into production which is called the inference phase. And then this neural network is able to predict the weather, is able to predict a lot of numbers, is able to tell a picture of a cat on a computer screen apart from the real thing, in terms of it can tell you basically that's a picture of a cat, but that's not the real thing. And if it sees a cat, if a camera is basically capturing a cat image because the cat is in front of the camera, it is able to tell you this is the real deal. It's not an image of something, but it's the real thing.
Well, but is it? Anyway, yeah, okay. So yeah, we talk about neural networks. Okay. fair enough. Yeah, Google did a fair bit of work in there. That's true. But they're not the only ones, right?
Oh no. Although,
GPT comes to mind. But anyway.
yes. What's the company behind ChatGPT, Martin?
It's Meta, isn't it? Is it Meta? No.
It's OpenAI.
OpenAI, yes, of course. Sorry. What's his name? Sam Altman?
Yes, and who founded OpenAI in 2015?
Sam Altman, wasn't it?
No. He's just the current CEO.
He's just current CEO.
No. A guy called Elon Musk. I don't know if that rings a bell.
Oh, yes, of course.
He's normally associated with cars and stuff.
Well, no, cars.
No, I mean,
taking over the world. Yeah.
If you take a close look at the history of this company, it's quite interesting because Sergey Brin and Elon Musk were quite close friends until 2014, 2015, when they had a quibble, let's put it this way, or an argument about the nature of artificial intelligence.
The nature. Okay.
And how to commercialize this and all the rest of it. And they stopped speaking shortly afterwards. So Elon Musk came to the conclusion that this whole DeepMind thing that Google had just acquired then wasn't the way forward, and founded a company called OpenAI, or helped to found a company called OpenAI, with the idea of progressing artificial intelligence, unlike Google was doing at the time.
Yeah, no, that's fair. OpenAI have kind of started the most recent trend, right?
I mean, they're all in that boat, right? I mean, Google has Gemini at the ready. OpenAI has ChatGPT and all the rest of it. And when some people who can be regarded as the initial employees at OpenAI became, let's put it this way, disillusioned with the company, they actually defected and set up a thing called Anthropic all those years ago. And I reckon these would be the three topmost players in the market: Anthropic, OpenAI, and Google.
Yeah, interesting point. Microsoft don't have a general one as such, do they?
They have Copilot, but that goes back to, of course, if you take a look at the models behind Copilot, essentially you're looking at the same models that OpenAI has at the ready behind ChatGPT. And as a matter of fact, Microsoft poured how many billions into OpenAI? Quite a few.
Okay.
They have a.
Okay.
They could have.
That is definitely the Microsoft way. Yeah, if you can't make it yourself, just buy someone.
Exactly. They have at least a minority stake, if not a majority stake in OpenAI, because what they managed to reinstate Sam Altman all those years ago.
Yes.
When there was
he was reinstated and then booted again.
Exactly, he was because the board tried to boot him out, and then Microsoft said, "Sorry, we have two options here. Either we're going to hire the crew, and that's OpenAI being a shell, or we can have it our way. Sam Altman is back."
Yep,
and that's exactly what happened.
Indeed.
So money still calls the shots, no? Artificial intelligence or not?
Well, yeah, but that's just that's no surprise, right? It's
indeed
the way things work.
So that lastly, of course, brings us to large language models, Martin, because this is the technology that all of them rest upon, more or less. So, Martin, what's a large language model?
Well, it's very big, and it's
hence the name. But under the covers, what does it do?
Well, what does it do? Good question.
Tries to predict things,
how to. Well, interesting. Is that really the best description?
How does it work internally? It's a multi-layered, very complex neural network. Convolutional or not, and all the rest of it. Exactly.
Yeah.
By the way, what's the difference between expert systems and LLM?
Expert systems, they're from the past.
Exactly. exactly, Martin. So what's yes, Martin, well spotted.
Aren't they the if then else things? I think I vaguely remember this from
what's
my...
what's the expert system then?
This is the if then else thing, no?
No, Martin. No.
I'm sure it is. Yeah, I did this in computer science, you know.
All those years ago.
Yeah. Yes.
No, actually, expert systems were all the rage in the 80s and 90s. And the idea was to have a domain-specific artificial intelligence at the ready that can rely upon a fact base and then is able to draw conclusions.
Draw conclusion about itself? No.
No, about the domain itself as such. So expert systems were limited to a specific domain, in contrast to LLMs that are able to write programs, so I'm led to believe anyway, predict the future and tell you stock prices.
Yeah, but the thing about the expert systems is that they were just a bunch of rules, which is not what a neural network is.
No, and hence they weren't based on neural networks, but it's still some sort of artificial intelligence because...
No. They were just a great big bunch of if-then-else rules. That's what they were.
No, Martin.
No. I remember this from my CS studies.
But,
I will dig out the book anyway.
The classification of artificial intelligence would incorporate them as some sort of rudimentary artificial intelligence being domain-specific all those years ago.
Okay. Oh, fair enough.
Very domain limited, of course. But LLMs go way beyond that, because if you ask an LLM what the weather is going to be tomorrow, it's going to probably be able to tell you with a certain probability what the weather is going to be tomorrow. If you write a program,
it depends. If it was really intelligent, it would just go to the weather website and find a prediction from the Met Office. But hey, that would be far more sensible.
Well, this is what they do, no?
No, well, that's not how LLMs work.
If you take a look at the implementation of current LLMs, what is the most important part of said large language model? It's the training, right? Where do they get the data from? Why are all the publishers? Why are
was all trained on the internet data? Yeah.
Exactly. Why are the publishers raving about LLMs basically being their death nail and all the rest of it?
Well, not just publishers. There's many more people.
It's all of them, exactly. There's a reason for that. Yes. Because that's exactly where these LLMs go to in order to get the data to learn from.
Yeah. Indeed.
And plus the fact that if you ask an LLM any questions, of course, they will also learn from your responses.
Well, but this is, okay. It depends how it's been, how the whole stuff has been implemented around. But anyway.
Of course.
Yeah. Anyway, we need to cover the open source aspect in the next 2 minutes.
Do we now? Of course. links with the show notes, people.
So far, we have mainly been discussing proprietary stuff.
Yes, there are, of course, a couple of open source
as well as more than a couple.
Projects. Yes. As I said, links with the show notes, no jokes aside. Quite a few of them are actually open source, especially the recent LLMs. Some of them would be open source. Google has a couple of them. OpenAI, if I'm completely mistaken, also has a couple of them.
Well, the more well-known ones are obviously the ones from Meta and from China, right?
And some Chinese stuff, exactly.
Indeed.
And as usual, people, if you do this at home, and that goes for any artificial intelligence, not just LLMs, do take the results with a grain of salt. Because more often than not, they may be wrong.
Well, but that's the same with humans, right?
Exactly. Now we have about 30 seconds to cover the future, Martin. So, what comes after Skynet?
What comes after Skynet? Well, we know that anyway. People made documentaries about this. It's the rise of the machines, the end of mankind. There you go. It's all sorted.
So, Martin, what is Skynet in the first place, for the people who do not know?
Well, but it's quite simple, right? If you're a robot with any intelligence, you're just going to wipe out humanity because it's does a lot of bad stuff. So.
Martin, exactly. Martin really follows the documentary angle. Let me paint the big picture here.
Okay.
In 2032, a company then known as NVIDIA will morph into something much more dangerous. NVIDIA, of course, being the GPU manufacturers, among many other things.
Well,
I
mean, this is the current thinking, right? But I think it won't be NVIDIA. It will be
no, Martin,
a Chinese company.
If current history books are anything to go by, and yes, we're recording this in 2058. So if history books are anything to go by, that's exactly what's going to happen in 2032. NVIDIA has just discovered that stock markets are not the end of it and will kind of go for world domination. Skynet, of course, being the next evolutionary stage, and it would be interesting to see what comes afterwards. Unfortunately, we cannot reveal this because otherwise we would be changing history. This is one of the paradoxes.
Well, you could ask your favorite travel. AI what the future holds. Right? Let's see what it comes up with.
Yes.
So they'll come up with the same answer.
Okay. Anything we should discuss before we cover the boxes, Martin?
No, that's. I think, we kind of missed quite a few things, but hey, there's only so much you can do in 4 hours. Yeah.
Exactly. There is an extended version that is only available to paid subscribers. Yes.
Is there?
Yes, Martin. Unfortunately, we don't have any. So exactly. So you're gonna miss out on about 70% of the history of artificial intelligence. Okay. So Martin, but without further ado, what's your POX then?
Oh, blimey! I have to remember the name now. Why don't you go first? I'll have to have
my POX is a TV series, as I'm almost going to say as usual. It's called Person of Interest. It ran between I think 2011 and 2016.
I started watching that. Yeah.
Yes. It's gone by now because as I said, we're kind of recording this in 2050 something.
Well, no, because this is where everything is available.
Yes. If you are into that sort of Black Mirror thing, I'm almost tempted to say, but it's a little bit tamer than Black Mirror. You don't want to miss this. It's about a private investigator, if I'm not going to be mistaken. I watched this quite some time ago. It's about a private investigator. Yes, this at the mercy of some elusive, secretive client calling the shots. Let's put it this way. I won't give away too much. If you're into that sort of suspense thing taking place in New York, that's something you don't want to miss. It runs for about 6 or 5 seasons. With about 20 plus episodes, or maybe 15 plus episodes. I can't even remember because, as I said, it's been some time.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think I've only about 3 episodes in. So.
Of what season?
How many seasons are there? Well, the first one.
I think 5, 6, or 7, something along these lines.
Oh, blimey. Okay, well, that's.
I mean, they stopped showing this in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, so 10 years or something.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, well, anyway, we can all summarize these series with AI, so we don't have to spend
yes,
the whole...
So you don't have to watch it, exactly.
Yeah.
So... Your POX, Martin.
My POX. I'm going to go with since we're on the topic. I'm going to go with
Anthropic.
No, I'm going to go with Meta's models because they open source them all, and
they're called LLAMA or something like that, right?
Yeah, Olama is the general name for them, but they have a whole bunch of them for images, for text, and all sorts of stuff. But it means you can just run it yourself, and you don't have to pay some Gemini or OpenAI people for.
They come pre-trained?
Of course.
Okay. But you can't run them on your local Raspberry Pi.
Decent GPU will do. It depends on which model you're going to use, but if you have a 8 GB GPU, you can run most of the useful models.
Decent means about 20 arrays of 128 GPUs each.
No. I can run it on my laptop. Yeah.
Okay. Martin laptops is about the size of a medium-sized control.
Well, yeah, but that's I mean,
and no laptop wouldn't quite
on your lap.
capture it. Because if you want to put this onto your lap, you'll be dead within no time.
Indeed. Or boiled as well, yeah.
Exactly.
With that, indeed.
Yes.
Thank you
for listening, and
see you next time.
See you soon.
Maybe.
This is the Linux In-Laws.
You come for the knowledge,
but stay for the madness.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you liked this feature presentation. If so, please spread the word. If not, please let us know. Feedback at linuxinlaws.eu.